Welcome everybody for the today's session on parotid gland. A parotid gland is the largest salivary gland. Okay, as the name suggests, para means around and otic means around the opening of the external ear. Okay, it is around the ear. Let us talk about the extent of the parotid gland. If you look from the side, if this is the mandible and this is the mastoid process. So parotid gland lies between the mandible and the mastoid. So this is mandible, this is mastoid. Parotid gland lies between the mandible and mastoid. You are looking at the norma lateralis, but it extends over the mandible. It not only lies between them, but it extends over the mandible, extends into the neck also. Okay, so extent is from mandible to mastoid, lies between mandible to mastoid and extends on them also. The parts are base, which is at the top, and apex. This surface is called as superficial surface. This border will be called as anterior border. This border here is called as posterior border. So now we are talking about the morphology of the parotid gland. Anterior border, posterior border, base, apex, superficial surface. Now these are some things which you can see on the external aspect. But if I take a cross section like this, and in that cross section, a transverse section, I see mandible like this. Then I see the mastoid process here. So this is anterior, this is posterior, this is mandible. Okay, so this is mandible, this is mastoid, and parotid gland is lying like this. So in this diagram, we saw from external aspect. Now, if we take a transverse section and see, this is the lateral aspect. So this is the superficial surface. This is the superficial surface. Now, in this diagram, we only talked about base, apex, anterior border, posterior border. Now, here we talk about one more border, and that is the medial border. And we talk about two more surfaces, and that is this surface will be called as anteromedial surface, and this surface is called as posteromedial surface. That means parotid gland has a base. Base is also called as superior surface. Base base is also called as superior surface. So there is a base, there is apex, there is anterior border, posterior border, and medial border, and anteromedial surface and posteromedial surface. Okay, so now with that background, let us write down what is the morphology of the parotid. The morphology of the parotid gland, it has a base which is near the ear. It has apex which is pointing towards the neck. It has three borders. It has three borders: anterior, posterior, and medial. And it has three surfaces. Three surfaces: superficial, anteromedial, and posteromedial surface. Okay. So base, apex, anterior border, posterior border, medial border, superficial surface, anteromedial surface, and posteromedial surface. Now let us talk about the relations of the parotid gland. Relations of the parotid gland. The base of the parotid gland, the base of the parotid gland or the superior surface will be related to external acoustic meatus. External acoustic meatus. It will be also related to the temporal branch. It will be also related to the temporal branch of the facial. Also related to the temporal branch of the facial. The apex is here. Now the apex will be related to the cervical branch of the facial. And through this apex, the two divisions of the retromandibular vein will come out. Two divisions of the retromandibular vein will come. The base, which is also called as superior surface, it is related to the cartilaginous part of the external acoustic meatus. Okay, external acoustic meatus, the cartilaginous part. It is related to the TM joint, the temporomandibular joint, and as I said, superficial temporal vessel. Superficial temporal vessel. It is related to external acoustic meatus, temporal joint, temporomandibular joint, superficial temporal vessel, and it will be also related to the auriculotemporal nerve. Auriculotemporal nerve. Auriculotemporal nerve. The anterior border. The anterior border. It is anterior border will be related to parotid duct because parotid duct will come out from here. Okay. The terminal branches, the two will go here, but other terminal branches of the facial nerve, which you have already studied, zygomatic, buccal, marginal mandibular, they will be related to the anterior. The transverse facial vessels, the transverse facial vessels, they will be related to the anterior border. The posterior border is just separating the superficial surface from the posteromedial surface. It is related to sterno. It overlaps the sternocleidomastoid. Overlaps the sternocleidomastoid. So now in this diagram, we have studied the relations of the apex. Apex is related to the cervical branch of the facial nerve. The two divisions of retromandibular vein. The base is also called as superior surface, is related to external acoustic meatus, the cartilaginous part, PM joint. It is related to auriculotemporal nerve. It is related to superficial temporal vessels. Now we have to study the relations of the other parts. Now, if we take a transverse section, in that transverse section, we see the mandible like this. Mandible. And then we see the mastoid. Mandible and mastoid. The gland goes inside it. Now this is the anteromedial surface. This is the posteromedial surface. Now mandible, outer side of the mandible is the muscle masseter. And on the inner side of the mandible, there is the muscle medial pterygium. So I know the three relations of the anteromedial surface. So anteromedial surface is related to the posterior border of ramus of mandible. So mandible 1, masseter 2, medial pterygoid muscle 3. Okay. Also the branches of the facial nerve will be coming out from here. So fourth will be facial nerve branches. So they are also related to anterior border, also related to anteromedial surface. Okay. So branches of the facial nerve. Also related to the TM joint, but right now you need not remember that. Now the posteromedial surface will be related to sternocleidomastoid because mastoid there is attachment of sternocleidomastoid. So sternocleidomastoid muscle and posterior belly of digaster. Posterior belly of. There will be also the styloid process. The styloid process and the muscles attached to it. The external carotid artery will enter through this surface. Okay. And so if external carotid artery is here, of course, it will be seen inside the gland, more inside the gland. And now let us talk about the medial border, which is here. I'll turn the page to show you the relation to the medial border. The medial border will be related to the lateral wall of pharynx. So the pharynx will be like this. So the medial border will be related to lateral wall of pharynx. So now let us talk about the relations. Again, we will revise. This is the cross section of the parotid gland. In the cross section of the parotid gland, this is the superficial surface, this is the anterior border, this is the posterior border. Here will be the medial border. Anteromedial surface will be related to the posterior border of the ramus of mandible, masseter muscle. Mandible outer side is masseter muscle, inner side is medial pterygoid. Then it will be also related to the emerging branches of the facial. Now talking about the posteromedial surface, it is related to mastoid. Okay, it is related to sternocleidomastoid, two muscles. So basically, anteromedial surface is related to a bone and two muscles attached to the bone, masseter and medial pterygoid. Posteromedial surface is related to mastoid and two muscles attached to it, sternocleidomastoid and posterior belly of digaster. And it is also related to the styloid process and the styloid apparatus. Now the medial border is related to the lateral wall of pharynx. Lateral wall of pharynx. So these are the relations of all the surfaces. So with this diagram, we covered the relations of the base, apex, anterior border, posterior border. And with this diagram, we have covered the relations of anteromedial surface, posteromedial surface, and medial border. Now what happens is facial nerve runs like this. So this is facial nerve. So this is another thing that is asked in the exam, that what are the contents of the parotid gland inside, the structures passing through the parotid gland. So facial nerve, most superficial. Then is retromandibular vein. Next is retromandibular. And next, the deepest is external carotid artery. So this is external carotid artery. This is retromandibular. So three structures: facial nerve, retromandibular vein, and external carotid artery. These are the three structures passing through the carotid. Now, in the exam, you will have to draw diagram of these three structures. And you will have to always remember that the most superficial is facial nerve, then is the retromandibular vein, and then deepest among the structures is external carotid artery. Now, whenever you have to draw these structures, now these diagrams will be for structures passing through the parotid gland. So we have to draw three diagrams. Okay, the one most superficial is facial nerve. Okay, so we draw the parotid like this, and then we draw the facial nerve, and then the five branches, right? Temporal, zygomatic, buccal, marginal mandibular, and cervical. So this is diagram number one. Then we talk about the intermediate structures. What is the intermediate structure? So this is the parotid gland. And what happens in the parotid gland is the parotid gland, there is formation of retromandibular vein. Retromandibular. Now this retromandibular vein is formed by the union of maxillary and superficial temporal. Maxillary and superficial temporal. This retromandibular vein almost comes up to the apex, and here it divides. It divides into anterior branch and posterior branch. This we have already studied. Anterior branch is joined by facial vein to form common facial vein, and posterior branch is joined by the posterior auricular vein to form external jugular vein. Anterior branch joined by facial vein to form common facial vein. Posterior branch joined by posterior auricular vein to form external jugular vein. So this is the maxillary vein, and this is superficial temporal vein. Also, there is transverse facial vein. Transverse facial vein. But you have to mainly remember superficial temporal vein and maxillary. The second structure passing through the parotid is retromandibular. Now let us talk about the third structure passing. The third structure passing through the parotid is external, or that is the deepest structure. So the superficial structure passing was facial now, most superficial. It was passing through parotid, but most superficial. Then intermediate was retromandibular vein, and then next is the deepest structure. And the deepest structure is external carotid artery. So again, we draw a diagram of the parotid, show the external carotid artery entering it, giving posterior auricular branch, going up, and giving its terminal branches. Maxillary and superficial temporal. And the transverse facial artery will arise from superficial temporal, posterior auricle. So three branches of the external carotid artery are given inside the parotid gland. The posterior auricular artery, superficial temporal artery, and maxillary. And superficial temporal artery. So these three diagrams, in case parotid gland is asked in the exam, you have to draw the structures passing through the parotid. Most superficial is facial nerve, then intermediate is the retromandibular vein, and the next is the external carotid artery. Three structures passing through the parotid. Now coming to the blood supply. The blood supply of the parotid gland is by external carotid artery. Okay, and the veins they drain into external jugular vein. Things become very easy. Blood supply, external carotid artery, veins, external jugular vein. Now the nerve supply. Nerve supply, we write three things. One is the parasympathetic nerve supply. Then sympathetic. The parasympathetic, then sympathetic, parasympathetic, sympathetic, and third is sensory. So sensory nerve supply of the gland is by auriculotemporal nerve. The sympathetic comes from the plexus around the external carotid artery. Plexus around the external carotid. Now the parasympathetic, it comes from glossopharyngeal nerve. But you have to know the entire route of the parasympathetic. The parasympathetic the fibers will start from inferior salivatory nucleus. I'm talking about the preganglionic fiber. From there, they go in the ninth nerve, the glossopharyngeal nerve. This ninth nerve gives a branch called as tympanic branch. This tympanic branch goes into tympanic plexus. So the fiber starts from inferior salivatory nucleus, go to the ninth nerve, then tympanic branch, then tympanic plexus. Then it goes from the tympanic plexus, arises a nerve called as lesser petrosal nerve. And this lesser petrosal nerve relays in the otic ganglion. So ganglionic fibers are starting from inferior salivatory nucleus, ninth nerve. From ninth nerve, the fibers go to tympanic, its tympanic branch, then enters the tympanic plexus. From the tympanic plexus arises a nerve called as lesser petrosal nerve. You must have studied the structures passing through the foramen ovale, MALE. So that lesser petrosal nerve, it arises from tympanic plexus. It relays in otic ganglion, and from otic ganglion, the auriculotemporal nerve. The auriculotemporal nerve takes the fibers to the parotid gland. So in the exam, when you are asked about the nerves of parasympathetic nerve supply of the parotid gland, you have to talk inferior salivatory nucleus, ninth nerve, tympanic branch, tympanic plexus, lesser petrosal nerve, otic ganglion, auriculotemporal nerve, and parotid. Now there is one more short topic before I talk about the lymphatic drainage, and that is the capsule. The capsule of the gland is formed by the investing layer of deep cervical fascia. The capsule is formed by investing layer, the investing layer of deep cervical fascia. Okay, the fascia splits to enclose the gland, and the deeper part of it forms the stylomandibular ligament, and this stylomandibular ligament separates it from the submandibular salivary gland. Now coming to the lymphatic drainage of the parotid gland. The lymphatic drainage of the parotid gland is from the parotid lymph nodes, from the parotid lymph nodes, and from the parotid lymph node, it goes to the deep cervical lymph. It goes to the deep cervical lymph. Coming to the last point of the parotid gland, parotid duct. This parotid duct is 5 centimeter long, and it comes from the anterior border of the parotid, and then it goes over the masseter. It pierces the masseter. Pierces the masseter, and then it opens at the second upper second mode. Okay. Applied anatomy of the parotid. Parotid swellings are very painful because of this parotid fascia. Mm, The applied anatomy you must, so parotid swellings are painful. The applied anatomy which you must have heard of is mumps, is the swelling of the parotid gland. Then there is parotid abscess, and most important, during the surgery on parotid, we have to preserve the facial nerve. Preserve the facial nerve because facial nerve is passing. This is the importance of knowing anatomy, because facial nerve is passing through the parotid. During the surgery, if we damage the facial nerve, the person can get paralysis of the facial muscles. So now, a fast revision of the parotid gland. We started saying that it is the largest salivary gland. Para means around, otic means around the ear. Extent is from the mandible to mastoid. It has a base, apex, superficial surface. Now this is mandible, this is mastoid, this is the transverse section, this is superficial surface, anterior border, posterior border. In this transverse section, we see the anterior medial surface, posterior medial surface, and medial border. Then coming to the morphology of the gland, we said the gland has a base which is related to ear, apex which is related to neck, three borders, anterior, posterior, medial, and three surfaces, superficial surface, anteromedial surface, and posteromedial surface. Then we talked about the relations. The base is related to external acoustic meatus, superficial temporal vessels, auriculotemporal nerve, TM joint. Apex is related to the cervical branch of the facial nerve, the divisions of the retromandibular. Anterior border is related to the parotid duct, the terminal branches of the fascia. Now coming to the relations of the other surface. The similarity between the relation of anteromedial and posteromedial surface is that both are related to one bone and two muscles attached to that one bone. The anteromedial surface is related to the posterior border of the ramus of the mandible, and two muscles are masseter on the outer aspect and medial pterygoid on the medial aspect. Posteromedial surface is related to the mandible, a mastoid, and it is related to sternocleidomastoid and posterior belly of digastric. It is also related to styloid apparatus. medial border is related to the lateral wall of pharynx. Then we talked about the structures passing through the parotid gland. There are three structures and these three diagrams have to be drawn. The most superficial structure is the facial nerve and its five branches, formation of retromandibular vein and its division into anterior and posterior division, and deepest structure external carotid artery giving three branches over here, posterior auricular, superficial temporal and maximal. Then we talked about the blood supply from external carotid artery, venous drainage is from external jugular vein. The nerve supply is from the parasympathetic, sympathetic, and sensory. Sensory is from auriculotemporal nerve. Sympathetic comes from plexus around the external carotid artery. And the parasympathetic we discussed as inferior salivatory nucleus, ninth nerve, tympanic branch, tympanic plexus. Lesser from the tympanic plexus arises lesser petrosal nerve, which relays in otic ganglia. So these all are preganglionic fibers. Postganglionic fibers via auriculotemporal nerve reach the parotid gland. I had forgotten about the capsule of the parotid gland, which is formed by the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia, which splits to enclose the capsule. The capsule is firmly attached to the gland, and that's why the parotid swellings are very painful. Lymphatic drainage is from the parotid lymph nodes to deep cervical. Parotid duct is 5 centimeter long, goes from the starts from the anterior border, pierces the buccinator. It will this is in very close relation with the buccinator, and this relation of the buccinator is very important. And then it opens at the upper part of the second molar, near the crown of the second molar. Okay, so it pierces the buccinator by the written related to masseter, but pierces the buccinator. In the applied anatomy, we said the parotid swellings are very painful. Then the mumps is the swelling of the parotid gland, and surgery on during the surgery of the parotid gland, we need to preserve the facial. So that's all about the parotid gland.